Hello there, welcome to the MythPod. You ever get the feeling there is a secret war happening right inside a phone? Well, you're not wrong. Behind all the memes, the endless scrolling, there is a ruthless battle being fought. Yes, we are talking about the giant companies in a constant high stakes game where the rivalries literally decide everything. Ready to peek behind the curtains?
Whoa, they chose to hurt us? I mean, that sounds less like a boardroom memo and more like a line from a soap opera, right? But this isn't fiction. This is a real quote from a real executive in a real legal fight over 5G. So what could possibly push a massive corporation to sound so personal? Well, believe it or not, there's a name for this whole thing.
Welcome, my friends, to the Spite Game. In the brutal world of big business, just winning isn't always enough. Sometimes the real goal, the real victory, is making sure your rival loses, even if it costs you. It sounds totally nuts, right? Just pure chaos. But there's actually a whole economic theory dedicated to this exact kind of delicious drama.
Yeah, economists actually have a term for this, a spiteful agent. And this isn't just your standard tough competitor. Oh no, a spiteful agent is playing a completely different game. They're totally willing to sacrifice their own piece on the board just to knock their opponent's best piece out of play. You know, like in an auction, when someone keeps driving the price up and up, not because they want to win, but just to make damn sure their rival has to pay a ridiculous amount. That is the spite game.
Okay, but hang on a second. If everybody's just running around trying to burn each other to the ground, how does anything ever get done? Wouldn't every business deal just spiral into this fiery pit of mutual destruction? That's a great question, and lucky for all of us, some very smart people have figured out a clever way to stop the madness.
So the trick is to just change the rules of the game entirely. It's called a threshold mechanism. Think about it like this. Instead of a big, messy, public auction where everyone can see each other, the seller just goes to each buyer, one by one, in private, with a secret take it or leave it price. The very first person to say, "I'll take it," wins. That's it. End of story. There's no room for spite because you can't see what your rivals are doing and you can't mess with their price. It's a pretty genius way to keep things from getting ugly.
It's kind of like a bouncer at a super exclusive club, right? He just looks at his list, leans in, and says, "Here's the cover. You in or you out?" It's simple, it's clean, there's no drama. But, that's in a perfect, theoretical world. Out here, in the real world, without those rules, the fight to get past that velvet rope is an absolute brawl. And we're about to step into a real-world arena where that fight is legendary. You want to see corporate combat in its purest, most brutal form? Look no further than India's telecom market. I mean, this place is a total pressure cooker of crazy ambition, cutting-edge tech, and over 1 billion potential customers. It is the perfect stage for an absolutely epic rivalry.
So, in one corner, you have the established champ, Bharti Airtel. And in the other corner, you've got the disruptive challenger, Reliance Jio, who basically kicked the door in, flipped over the table, and set the whole place on fire. This wasn't just friendly competition. This was an all-out war for the digital soul of an entire nation.
And Jio's strategy? Pure genius. They didn't just compete on price, they launched a full-on cultural invasion. They tied their brand to cricket, built an entire universe of apps for movies and payments, and then, the ultimate power move, they gave it all away for free just to get everyone hooked. It was bold, it was brilliant, and it sent their rivals into a total panic. But just when you think you know who's on the field,
A brand new player enters the game. And this one isn't from across town. It's coming from low Earth orbit. That's right, we're talking about satellite internet, a technology that promises to beam high-speed connections down to every single corner of the globe. And the undisputed heavyweight champ of the satellite world is, of course, Starlink. So, does its arrival in India mean the end of the line for the Jio-Airtel war? Is this the ultimate game changer we've all been waiting for?
Well, not so fast. When you actually crunch the numbers, the story gets a whole lot more interesting. Just look at that price difference. The local Indian companies are offering plans for as little as $5 a month, with basically no upfront cost for hardware. Starlink, on the other hand, costs way more each month. Plus, you got to fork over hundreds of dollars for the satellite dish right at the beginning. And the biggest kicker? Unlimited data versus a plan with a cap.
So, what's the bottom line here? In India's incredibly price-sensitive cities, Starlink isn't the big, scary competitor everyone thought it would be. It's actually much more likely to be a strategic partner, helping the big guys reach those remote rural areas where laying fiber optic cables is just impossible. So the ground war continues. But why should we even care who wins?
Because this whole war, this fight for network dominance, for market share, for your eyeballs, it's not really about the internet pipes themselves. No, it's about what flows through those pipes. The ultimate prize here is content. And this unbelievably fierce rivalry has led to an absolute explosion of creativity.
This crazy competition means there's a market for literally everything, even the really weird stuff. You get a show like Springleaf, which is this hilarious parody of true crime podcasts about a totally incompetent undercover cop. It's the kind of brilliant, niche thing that probably never would have gotten made a decade ago.
Or you can go down the rabbit hole with the insane true story of the Pirate of Prague, about a con man who managed to sell a completely fake oil company to an entire country. It's like a real-life Ocean's 11, and it only exists because all these companies are desperate for your attention. And then you get shows that explore these weird little corners of our digital world, like tracking down the person who designed that infamous dress, you know the one, was it blue and black or white and gold? This creative free-for-all isn't just some fun side effect. It's a massive, massive industry.
How massive?
How about 2.5 trillion rupees? That's the value of India's media and entertainment industry just this year. This is not some small market. This is a cornerstone of the entire economy. And as you can see right here, it's only getting bigger. It's projected to grow even more next year, and it makes up a huge chunk of the country's GDP. This is the treasure chest that all those spiteful agents are fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on.
Okay, so you've got spiteful rivals, a prize worth trillions, and an explosion of content. It sounds like the Wild West, right? So, who's the sheriff in this town? Who is the referee in this completely chaotic game?
Well, that enormous job falls to TRAI, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. These are the folks trying to lay down the law, manage the chaos, and make sure the game is at least somewhat fair for everyone, from the corporate giants all the way down to you and me.
And their to-do list is a mile long. They aren't just pushing paper around, they are actively shaping the future. Get this, they're even creating something called a regulatory sandbox, which is basically a safe little playground for companies to test out their wildest new tech ideas without, breaking the entire system.
And this isn't just some boring bureaucratic stuff. Why should you care? Because what TRAI decides hits you right where you live. They're the ones who decide how your TV channels get bundled together, what kind of special deals your phone company can offer, and even how many spamming promotional texts you get. They are the invisible architects of your digital life. Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question. In this massive, sprawling game of spiteful rivals, endless content, and powerful referees, who is actually in control? Is it the companies with all their billions, the regulators with their rulebooks, or maybe, just maybe, it's the person holding the screen? Maybe it's you.